Game of Thrones Season 7 10 Things That You Need to Know. The popular TV series Game of Thrones Season 7 just ended in epic manner with the final begin. Alright, this past Sunday, this TV series has fans all over the world hooked to screens and update for years. People have gone as far as unfriending their Facebook friend that post. Spoilers for these super die-hard fans. It is either a fresh new Game of Thrones episode or their friends, and they choose the former not surprisingly. We have complicated list of the Game of Thrones season 7 things that you need to know are the last think about given the popularity of the show. In it there is a heavy emotion, vagueness and love. The darker side of the human being has been shown in an explicitly honest manner, revealing everything that person hides beneath the sheath and skin. Check out this list to find out some interesting things about the Game of Thrones Season 7. Number 10. Girl Power. If the most recent season successfully portrayed one thing, it was girl power. Do not mess with pink, girl rule and all such sort of slogans that you can think of. Women rule Westeros, and these has been clearly shown by their makers who have put Cressy on the throne. In King's Landing, while Sansa Stark rules Winterfell, this is the land side up in their air. We have Dany with her dragons, who at first would not submit to her but later made her the Dragon Queen at the end of the season. She had her own throne at Dangerous Stone. All these queens are formidable at their own spot, but will any of these have the power to take the Night King down? Number 9. The villain have gone. In the Game of Thrones universe, so many villains have already died. Only one true bad guy remains, the blue guy, the Night King, who has a very conveniently converted one of the Dany dragon into zombies to his hide. They finally of the Game of Thrones Season 7 showed how the Night King used Vision, the pillars, the wall to gain access to Westeros from his perspective. The game seems to be over because Vision's blue fire lighting breed seems to outmatch any soldier that the queens have. Will Daenerys be able to take Vision head on? Cressy is comfortable in the south and does not intend to help, and Sansa is nothing without her little sister, so who will be fighting the Night King? Number 8. Arya, the Joan of Stark. Sansa should put Arya in the change of the fighter in North. Apparently by the end of Game of Thrones Season 7 we found that Sansa is nothing without her paint-sized sister, though Arya has always felt less confident with Sansa around. All the beauty and ladylike thing, hey, growing confidence and training with the faceless man seems to make you think that the little soldier will be the only one who will dare to stand up against the army of the dead, even if she is wearing someone else's face. At least in one-on-one combat she is unbeatable. Number 7. Game of Thrones, the next season and final. Weiss and Benioff would be Paris if they do not give a proper ending to the final. For the millions of fans all over the world, it should be nothing ambiguous or predictable, because that is what Game of Thrones has been all about: cruelty and unpredictable. In the end, or two heroes does not take the trophy, rather evil wins. It is not that the fans do not want goodness to prevail, but they do not want to lose the chance to have their viewers drop it either. The last season of the series is gone into production in 2017 October and will be on air by the end of 2018. This might push the final into 2019. We could ask Brain Star for the exact dates. Throck. Number 6. Everybody gets a car. Have you seen those games show where literally everybody wins? Everybody gets a car, you and you. Game of Thrones Season 7 seemed to have changed its signature aspect of human nature cruelly. Many episodes during the past season have made us cry. Literally, Robb Stark dead, Lady Catelyn dead, Ned Stark a little too early but dead, and so on. The makers won the hearts of millions of people all over the world because of the masochistic approach that the dream took right off from the start. We become sadists, we enjoy it, but in season 7 everybody got a car, it's a rainbow, lollipop and waterfall. Suddenly for everyone, why this is one season 7 thing that you need to ponder over. Number 5, Game of Thrones season 7 remind us of Lost. Lost, the TV series that won an Emmy for the best drama series in the first year of its running, had audience glued to the screen in anticipation of the final outcome. They wanted to know what the Iceland actually is, although the makers instead throughout the previous season that the series survivors were not too progressive in the end of they were, and that is the ending that has stand a series like Lost ever since. Weiss and Benioff have a lot at stake here, and hence the pressure is high. The final should be nicely warped up in bow. Number 4, something unreal. In the final episode of season 7, everyone is catching up on everyone. 10 minutes into the final, we see that every character that the audience ever cared about is now in the King's Landing. They are part of a huge heart where everyone catch up on what has been happening behind their backs. Tyrion and Port and Brannon and the Hound and the news of Arya life and the Hound all catch up. The meeting in the King's Landing looks more of global summit or special reunion of friends than a meeting. However, we do give Danny 10 points for arriving late and another 5 for doing so. What the impact that expresses itself as I had 3 dragons but I still have 2. Number 3, Goose just disappeared. Daenerys got to bring 2 dragons to King's Landing, but the Joan could not bring even one wolf. Many people have noticed that even if any of the characters choose not to bring that up, it is probably because the CGI for the draw wolves was very expensive, but they have been part of the Star Kids since the first episode, and Goose deserved to be present there. Just saying. Number 2, the Game of Thrones behind the scene. If you missed Game of Thrones season 7 already, it has been 2 days after all. Then HBO has arranged for withdrawing the farewell symptoms for your life. It is another Game of Thrones related series with the name game revealed, and the first episode is already up on YouTube. The craft and labor that went into making this epic series might just be the boost you need after one full season of incestuous romance and major character death. Low, the other 6 episodes will only be available for HBO subscriber after the first one. Point to ponder. Number 1, the final was the longest. The final of the Game of Thrones season 7 was the longest episode of the season, and also the most action-packed finish with the twisted happenings and incidents. It was a show looming with 80 minutes of nudity, betrayal and negative emotion, where the new protagonists get undresses hastily to shake a board a little to disappear too. Don't you think the old unhappy Game of Thrones, however, will make a splendid return after the Game of Wagons is now back? All in all, the whole series is basically an epic tale of power, lust and greed, coupled with the softer emotion of love and importance of family. The drama series is thick with all kind of negative emotion, but at the same time the evil balloon is pinched with needless of lively happens. It tells you how far humans can go for greed, sex and power, and interestingly it is very rigorously depicts the bad side of home spines, although we would love to call it socially accepted porn. Game of Thrones has much more than that.